Good day. Our topic for today is about Microsoft PowerPoint slides illustration, which is actually the last of our tutorial for the PowerPoint. This day, we're going to discuss about the illustration pictures, how to create shapes, launch a slideshow, navigation of slideshow, print presentation, sample output, a presentation speaker notes, and the presentation of the audience handout. So for the slide presentation, usually we have lots of image features to enhance your documents with the numerous graphics, sounds, and motions. Allows you to insert illustration, image such as tables, chart, smart app, art rather, pictures, media clips within the text placeholder. As click an illustration image to the button locate. So this is the point that you can actually use a smart graphic. The idea is very simple. It's something like a portion of a drawing that you want to navigate from the start to the beginning. Something like an illustration process. Something like a list. You can have a process, a cycle, a hierarchy, a relationship, a matrix, a pyramid. So these are the sum of the smart art graphics. So for the cycle, it's actually good in presenting a cycle. But normally, I usually use a relationship or a simple matrix. Matrix reappears on what particular idea that need to be counted to be corresponds from 1 to 5. There are ratings from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which can actually display or discuss on what we call matrix. Hierarchy represents on the top to the bottom, while the process is from the input, the process, and the output, or the IPU. You can actually use smart graphics to your um, conceptual framework. Usually, the conceptual framework relies on the relationship of the dependent and independent um, variables. So, using this actually is very good when you have a specific thing on mind that you want to do. Okay, so matrix is simply some of them. You can actually choose a lot. It depends on how you use. But I recommend something like a hierarchy, a process, or a cycle, which means you can actually do a lot of things in explaining. Process can go to the step one, step two, and then step three. As for the create shapes, there are two common functions. Obviously, shapes can be put in any aspect. You can choose whatever shapes that you want, either as a circle, rectangle, a square, a diamond. No one cares as long as you can create escapes. But that's one of the function. Another function of the scale of the shapes is like a path. You can draw a line and then use this as a path for your animation to go through, which is actually very good. When you least expected of all the things that you want, you can create a basic animation using the path shapes. There are a lot of things that you could actually do. You can actually um, make a lot of shapes that you want. Okay. So in the slideshow, you can actually see these are the samples, which is actually very, very simple. But you can actually what? See in a drawing which are the things that you need to do. Now, there are two ways on how to present or launch our slideshow. In your keyboard, you can actually press F5 and it will be starting your presentation. Or you can actually click from the beginning and then slideshow will be launched. Or if you wanted to have to navigate it. Navigating it means you can actually go to the shortcuts, which is actually here. You can actually enter escape when you want to cancel the slideshow. Obviously, arrow down and arrow up will help you to go to the pair, or you can use the mouse to go to the next previews of your slides. As for the pointer options, you can actually choose which one do you want, an arrow options or choose the pointer options. For printing a presentation, it's a little bit tricky actually. You can actually print one slides at a time, but these are full colored. You don't want to waste ink, so you can actually print a multi slides in one page. Okay. Let's say I have 10 slides. I wanted to put it in 3 pages, so you can actually have 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then 4. Or you can actually have 4, 3, 3. But if you have 12, you can actually have 3, 3, 3, 3, or 4, 4, 4, 4. So you can actually print depending on the number of slides that you want to insert. Obviously, in one page, you put 4 slides, that actually very small. But a little bit appropriate if you want to consider the pages and the ink. Let's say the number of copies that you're going to produce is around 10 copies. So if you have 9 slides, if you're going to print it into 9 slides to 9 pages, 10 copies, that would be 90 pages. That's a lot of paper. You waste a lot of resources. But you can print that into 3 pages. You reduce the number of pages to 30%, and then you save a lot of papers. Okay? So you don't need you don't need to waste ink, papers, and resources. But we do sometimes need to have a hard copy, at least one or two for your client. But basically nowadays we only share what we call a soft copy. But they insisted that they wanted to have a hard copy. You have no options but to print a piece of device. Don't print per page, per slides. You can actually put the slides into uh, a page, or one page for 4 slides or 3 slides. Rather, as per advice, I would consider to print 4 slides in one page for a perfect combination. Not too big, not minimal, but still very presentable. Okay? So for printing, you can actually do a lot of tricks of that. For the sample printing, you can have an outline, meaning there is the outline that you wanted. For the speaker notes, underneath the slides, there is the notes for the speaker that you wanted to say. Uh, for me, sometimes I usually put the speaker's notes to remind me of the topics that I need to discuss under the slides. So it's something like a code or a reminder for me to say, these are the things that I need to discuss, or these are the topics that I need to incorporate on these slides. So these are the highlights or the important things that I need to reconsider in order for me to have a successful presentation. Wow. As for the last part, when you wanted to print an urgent handout, in this typical example, we put the 3 slides in one page. As you can notice on the 3 slides, there is the notes on the other side. So in a full page slide section, you can select the number of pages and options. You can actually select to 1 to 9 per page, but that's too small. So You can actually have three or four. But if you have a speaker's best notes, the best actually is around two to three, not four. So this time, you're only allowed to do it in two or three slides. Okay? So just try to remember that the things that we wanted to do in printing our handouts, usually a person, he wanted to save and help our environment to save some resources like ink and papers. I would recommend that you use three slides with the handouts on your printing of audience handout. Okay? Hope you learned something new today and hope that you could able to provide comments and any suggestion or any topic that you want me to discuss in the near future so everybody would be able to learn something from each of one of us. Hope that we could able to share it to each one. Thank you very much for listening and goodbye.